Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our Medit webinar, educational webinar series. My name is Emily Bradley, and I'm on the part of the Medit education and training team. And with us, we are honored again to have Maria Rozlikova from Korea headquarters. Maria, thank you for joining us today. We're excited to hear all the new stuff you have to show us.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm also super excited, as usual, to talk for hours.
Yeah, good. Okay, so before I turn this time over to you for hours, everybody's thinking, wait, I have stuff to do tonight. We try to keep the webinar short so they're easy to listen to and learn from. I just, again, want to remind everybody that we will be recording this webinar. The webinars will go up on the Facebook page and on YouTube to watch and view. So if you don't receive the webinar again as a follow-up, the recording of the webinar, in your follow-up email tomorrow, just email me at emily.bradley@medit.com and I'll send the link to you. And then we will be taking questions. So just go ahead and click on the chat box and type your questions to me. And as they come through, I'll ask them to Maria. I'll direct the questions to Maria. Maria's usually pretty thorough with her presentations though, so we don't normally get a lot of questions. She's good about covering the icons all over the screen. So that being said, and Maria, don't let me forget by the end of the webinar tonight to remind everybody that you have more webinars coming up, and we'll talk about those before we wrap up today. So I'll just turn the time over to you, and I'll try not to interrupt as I always do. But yeah, I'm excited. It's all yours.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about yet another program that is already in your Medit link app box right here. So the program we're going to talk about today is called Medit Model Builder. It's just been released less than a month ago, actually, on July 22nd. And so far, the reaction has been so overwhelmingly positive, and I think we're getting a lot of feedback from our users saying, that this app is actually something that I could apply straight away in my workflow in both clinics and labs, and we're really excited about that. And what we're gonna show you today is basically how to create a model like this. This one is 3D printed with this app in just a few steps. So of course my explanation would be a little bit longer than it would actually take you to create a model, because I will go through most of, if not all, of the functions. So yeah, don't take it as this working with this program is as long.
And so, I have to jump in here. Maria has gone through this process with me, and she's really explained it in detail. And to me, this process is so simple. Like, I think that this is something that you don't need to spend a lot of time training on. It's really user friendly. So yeah, sorry for interrupting, but it's kind of a fun one to use in a quick process.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of creativity that you can put into this one. So yeah, let's check it out. I have it here installed already. So if you don't have it installed, it will look something like this. So you just click on install button and everything will happen automatically. Once everything is done, you go to your Medit link case and you will see that it's right here, Medit Model Builder. So I usually do both arches, but you can have just one arch in your case. You can do half an arch, but of course we recommend doing a full arch, because right now in Medit Builder 1.0, the whole process is optimized for an orthodontic model. So I think majority of people actually right now use it as an orthodontist, and we do get a lot of feedback asking to create dies and add some more functions. So hopefully we'll be able to deliver a lot of this in a short time. So
Maria, what you were saying earlier about people requesting and to be able to create dies and so forth, and again, it's another thing that Medit does when they listen to the customers. They know what people want from this, so everybody will be seeing the updates coming through with their suggestions, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, that is actually true. Like when we want to do something, but we see there's a Facebook comment, we're like, okay, let's start. We push everything we wanted to do. We push the priorities. But yeah, if you've been following Medit for a while, you will see that a lot of user requests are actually being implemented in the programs. Hopefully, this one is not an exception as well. So when you import data into Model Builder, you will see that here on top, there are 3 stages that are activated. And first, you just, you take a look at the data, because sometimes it might not be scanned well enough, which is not really a problem, but maybe you want to do something more. So we always suggest for using any app just to check what data you have, because maybe you need to go back and rescan, do additional scanning, and so on. So we, as usual in Medit, we have our stages here. In Model Builder, we have 6 stages, basically 5. This one last is a complete stage. If you don't know what's happening, you can just always hover over it with your mouse. And there's a tooltip that tells you what to do here. And if it's not activated, you will see in blue the reason why it's not activated. So you need to do something first in order to get there. And as usual in most of our apps, we have this 3D controls like toolbar on the right side. It's nothing scary. It's just it's there to help you look at the model in different ways. So you can look at it as mesh and just in color, with no color, and so on. Maybe it's more comfortable for you to work in this way. Maybe it's more comfortable for you to work in this way. So it's just all up to you. And these buttons are there to try and orient you within the 3D environment. This one is for touch screen, so it will allow you to rotate your model on the touch screen. And this one, our latest addition to all Medit software, is Grid View, which actually is a very good tool for many reasons. So it's a Medit link, and it's your model builder, so you can always have a kind of bird eye view of how tall your model is at all times, and just to check yourself if you're not going overboard with the height and so on. So I'm just going to get rid of it for now, and let's go to the first stage, which is area designation mode. At this step, you will see your data, and in most cases, the program will automatically select the area that it wants to use to create the model. In some cases, it may not be selected enough, especially in the dangerous cases, because we can recognize, so we mostly work on the teeth recognition. So in case there's something wrong with it, or maybe you want to add something, or just you want to adjust anything, you can use all these tools at the bottom. The easiest one to use, I would say, is the slider, expand selection slider. You can go back and forth, and the area that is selected, it's increasing and decreasing. So I think I'm good with just what the program suggested to me, so I'm just going to use it like this. Then the next step we're going to is called alignment mode, and for everybody, for everyone who's used, especially Scan for Clinics, I think this function is quite, you're probably going to be quite familiar with it. What we're doing here is we're aligning our scan data to the occlusal plane. And even if you're not familiar with it, there's always help image once you press this eye icon on the left side, and there's this very helpful image that guides you through how to actually do it. So it might look a little bit scary, like it did for me the first time I saw it, but actually it's very simple. You just click.
But I think in what it's basically showing is you can either do the 3-4 point alignment, or you can actually manually align it.
Yeah.
And in the earlier kind of preview you assisted me with, you see a next step is why this is so important to line this up. You'll see a big difference here.
Yeah, so if it doesn't work for any reason, you don't want to do it, you can always do it manually, as Emily just said. And here you see 3 other views on the right side, and it shows you from different angles how well your data is located on the occlusal plane. So why is it so important? Is because if it looks something like this, when I go to the next step where I can actually create a base, my model in the end would look rather tilted. So this is something that you really don't want to do.
So it's definitely worth taking the time to align your model. You're going to see a better model as a final product for sure.
Yeah, so this is what it will look like if you don't do the alignment properly. So now that we know why it is so important, let's just spend a little more time on it. So yeah, the program will usually do it automatically, but it's always just a good way to understand how to adjust if you want to change something yourself. So I think right now it looks, well, I think, yeah, I like it this way. So I'm gonna continue with my data being in this position. And now we're going to the base creation mode, which is this exciting place, as I see it, for me to be able to create a model and adjust all the parameters and so on. So Medit Model Builder right now offers 3 types of base. So the default one is Plateless model. This is how it looks like. Then I can have my plate model, which looks like this. And the one thing that a lot of people are asking about is ABO model, is really the ABO model. It is. So you can just go ahead and use it with no hesitation. And you see that all models right now, they are hollow. So all of the options set by default in Medit Model Builder, they are there to decrease the material that you use so that the costs are going down. And if you don't want to have it hollow, you can just go ahead and turn this toggle off, and you will see that this is what it looks like actually. Just click on it once more to have it back to the hollow shape. And what you see here, those circles, these are the drain holes. And drain holes are super important for many users, and I think that was one of, and I think this function specifically is one of the key points of this of Model Builder 1.0, because it's also one of those tools that allows you to waste less material, because once there are drain holes inside your hollow model, the resin or any other material that you use, you'll be able to just escape from the model and back into your 3D printed plate. Anytime you create something or you do any adjustment, you can press this button, preview, to see what the model will actually look like.
And Maria, I think it's interesting to point out, I mean, kind of worth mentioning is anytime that they have a question as to what an icon is, and you always do a really good job of showing us this, just hover your cursor over it and an explanation of that next step or that next process, it'll explain what it is. And you may have already mentioned that, but.
Exactly, yes. So for the model, you have a few parameters that you can adjust, and I think the most important one is the total height. So you can use those arrows, or you can use the slider to control the total height, and it will both be updated in the real time. So why is it so important? Because if you really need to 3D printing, you need always to keep in mind that your printer can only print something of this height and this width. So it is very important that you know your 3D printer settings, and if you make your model like this big and this high, maybe your 3D printer will not be able to print it out, and so you will end up wasting the material. So it's a really good point to check how your 3D printer works, what are the parameters of the plate, and so on. And here as well, we have wall thickness that you can also adjust. It's also been adjusted in real time, so I think it's a really good tool to use, because you can see everything, like any change you make, you can see it in real time, and every time you click preview, you'll be able to see what the model looks like. I think it's also a very good tool to use if you especially have a model that you want to benchmark. So I have my models here, and especially maybe with grid view on, I can really have a better understanding of the size of the model, because for me personally, when I work with 3D data, it actually looks much bigger than it is in real life. So I always, as a rule, work with grid view on. So if I have a model like this, I'll be like, okay, so maybe I need to adjust the wall thickness or the height or something like this. And once you settled on your shape, we can move to the next stages. But there's also this function when you work with plateless model. Again, as Emily just said, you can hover over and you will see everything that you need to know about this type of model, or with any function you can do this. You can choose to create this curved line or straight line for your base. So we're trying to provide our users with as many options as we can so that the process can be really customized, and you can choose what you want to do based on your preference. So yeah, don't forget that you have this option as well. So I think I'm gonna go with this one, and I think I like where my drain holes are. I think I like the number as well. So I will go ahead and go to the articulator mode. Medit Model Builder automatically attaches 3 articulators, 1 in the front, 2 in the back, and you can also attach 3 of them by yourself. As you will see here, these 2, they're blue, and this one is orange. So if it's orange, it means that it's not in the optimal position. So what I want to do is I want to move it around. Maybe, for example, for my case, I don't really want it at all, so I might just go ahead and delete it. For my articulators, I can control their diameter, and again, if it's way too large, it will turn orange, because if it's way too big, the position of it coincides with the position of the drain hole, so that obviously there's something wrong. It's not the optimal position. So it's also for me, it's very, very intuitive that I don't really, even if I don't understand what's happening, like I don't see the drain hole there, but I know it's orange, so I know that something is wrong, and I might adjust the position of the articulator. And now we'll go to the labeling mode, where I can create labels for my model. So here as well, you see that the default position, it coincided with my drain holes. So usually I would move these the label down, but I think right now I want to show what else we can do with that. So let's go back to this mode and just adjust the position of my drain holes. So right now I want them to be here. And then if I change the position of my drain holes, then the position of my labels will be just fine. Yeah, so now everything looks good, and here you can input any text that you want. You can adjust the size, you can adjust the depth. Here is this really important option for the label. So there are basically 2 ways that you can create a label. One is by embossing it, which means that it's kind of like this, it's on top of the model. And another way you can do it is you can engrave it. So it's actually inside the model. So let's see, I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna keep this one engraved, and I'm gonna keep this one embossed. Yes, I think I like it. And now I'm just gonna go back to put the articulator. So as you see now, because I changed the position of the drain holes, all articulators look good. I don't think I will actually adjust anything here. And also one thing that you will see when you have our articulators, you will see that this is actually what they look like. So if this is the model, this is what the articulators look like. So they're very easy. The model is very easy to work with. And yeah, one really cool thing that I personally really like is that I can change the font of the text. So I can go ahead and create something really cool. I don't know which fonts are cool these days.
Is there such thing as the cooler font nowadays? A font that's in style nowadays?
I'm pretty sure there might be something. So let's just go with this one. And maybe And I'm a Times New Roman girl.
Traditional.
Yeah. So yeah, well, let it be what it is. And yeah, basically this is it. So you can go ahead and be more creative with where you want to put your text on. You can adjust the position of training poles and articulators and all of that. So it's all totally up to you. You can just move it around on the screen, and yeah, it's really simple. So this is basically the whole process. Now that I think that my model is ready, I'm gonna check everything just one more time. I think everything looks good. And I'm gonna press this complete button, which is the last stage, the sixth stage. And this is the button that actually saves all of my files to Medit. So yeah, this is, we're gonna create a model like this, or a model like this. Now, all we need to do is just print it out. Here, I will just put the name for my model, and then I will see it saved in Medit.
So this actually saves to their Medit link account.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are many models that I created with the scan data, so they're all there. But yeah, this is, I think this is what we created just now. And here, especially, you see the difference between the engraving and embossing. So this is what it looks like when it is when the label is engraved, and this is what it looks like when it's embossed.
Very cool. You know, what strikes me is the end user has total control of how this model is going to end up. They're not kind of bound by any specific rules. They can move the holes around. They can make the wording larger or smaller, change the font and so forth to get exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, and I think another great thing about Model Builder is that you can just, as well as in Medit Compare, you can just go back and forth. You're not really tied to this one specific workflow. So if you don't want any labels, just don't put it. If you don't want any articulator, just don't put them. Just go straight into and press the complete button, and you will see that the model is just, I mean, it's as good. So you don't need to go through all the unnecessary steps if you don't want to do them. So I think, yeah, this is one of the advantages of Medit Model Builder.
Very good. Thank you so much. And I'm excited to see what the updates are as you guys continue to work on them and add to them and build with them. You know, I'm excited to see what happens next. And I know you're listening to a lot of end users and requests right now. So thank you. This is really exciting and a really user-friendly app. You know, there you go.
Yeah.
And it doesn't break.
It doesn't break. And now you know for sure this is live.
This is not edited out, anyone. So yeah, as always, thank you so much for your preparation, and thank the team in Korea. You know, they do a lot of work. I don't know that you guys sleep a whole lot. I always say this on the webinars. I think you guys work around the clock. But thanks for everything and listening to requests and so forth. So
yeah, thank you everybody for joining.
okay, we'll see you guys next time. Again, just respond to the email if you'd like more information. Also, we're looking to hear your what you're interested in. So if you have things that you want to learn more about, please send your request to emily.bradley@medit.com, and we'll plan a webinar around your needs and requests. So thanks again, everybody, and have a good night.
Bye-bye.